Burnout Crash. Have you played it? Burnout Crash, Burnout Crash is one of the lesser known games in the Burnout franchise. Why? Probably because it really doesn't have anything to do with Burnout in the first place. Burnout Crash is really just a spin-off of the series. There's no high-speed racing, boosting, paint trading, or takedowns. All you do is crash. But don't let that deceive you. This is not like the crash modes of Burnout 2, 3, or Revenge. It's its own entity. Seriously, Burnout Crash doesn't even need the Burnout name. This could have easily been its own standalone game. The only thing it has in common with the franchise is that you crash into stuff, but with that logic, the last game I reviewed could have been a Burnout game too. The game takes you on a destructive road trip across the map. Each of the 6 locations has 3 intersections, and each intersection can be replayed on 3 different modes. Regardless what mode you choose, they're all kinda similar. You begin by driving up the street towards the intersection. You can just drive up the center, but you'll probably want to smash into objects to build up your score multiplier. There is no accelerator or no brake, and all you can do is steer. How sharply you steer depends on the weight of your vehicle, but no matter what you choose, if you're about to clip the edge of a wall, you're gonna clip that wall. If the joystick steering doesn't work for you, there's also Kinect support, but honestly, how well do you think that works? But by far, the best way to play this game is with your finger on an iOS device. That's right, this is probably the only game I've ever played that I can confidently say that the mobile port is miles better. Let me explain. At the top of your screen you have a crash breaker meter. The meter slowly refills over time, or much faster when destruction is being caused. When it fills, you can explode your vehicle and launch it across the screen. On the Xbox, you can use the joystick, or your Kinect if you like to torture yourself, to aim your car. Once it comes to a rest, you can't move again until the meter refills. This can be incredibly frustrating because all too often you'll just end up off to the side and be forced to watch traffic just drive on by until the meter refills. On iOS, however, you can keep scooting along as long as you swipe the screen, meaning you don't have to wait for the meter to refill. This makes it so much easier to keep the carnage coming. Additionally, the iOS version makes it much clearer which vehicle is yours. When your car gets embedded in a pile of traffic or launched across the map to God knows where after a massive explosion, it can sometimes be difficult to figure out where you are. The iOS makes a point to always point to which car is you, and if you don't touch your controller for a bit on the Xbox, it will point you to as well, but so much can be lost in that time. But the biggest advantage the iOS version has over the Xbox is that you don't have to listen to the freaking radio. Oh my gosh, it is so ridiculously annoying.
Emergency warning. A tornado is about to hit Windrush South. Brace yourself for impact.
Every 30 seconds you hear
Crash City Radio, 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 Crash City Radio. Oh man.
Oh, thank God. The levels can be unlocked by collecting stars. Each level has 5 winnable stars, but I'll get to those in a bit. The first game mode you'll play is Road Trip. The goal in Road Trip, as is with the other modes, is to get as high a score as possible. Every so many vehicles you'll wreck, you'll trigger a special feature that'll help you rack up the points. These features range from high-scoring vehicles
It's the Ice Cream Man! The Ice Cream Man is coming!
to asteroids raining down from the sky. While they can net you a lot of points, they can also completely screw you over. The worst is the tanker truck. Yes, it gives you tons of points, but it does so by clearing the intersection. Its explosion causes a chain reaction detonating the rest of the traffic that you've already crashed. This usually leaves the intersection wide open, allowing incoming traffic to escape on through, and if you let 5 of them get through, it's game over. Luckily, if you let someone escape, the game will usually send in an ambulance. Let it go without crashing it and you'll get a strike removed. Unfortunately, they are like the worst ambulance drivers in history. The next mode you'll play is Rush Hour. Rush Hour is probably the simplest of the 3. You have 60 seconds to cause as much damage as possible, and the timer runs out, you go out with a bang. These were definitely my favorite of the levels. There's no repercussions for letting vehicles go, all you have to do is go in and blow stuff up. The final mode, unless you're playing on iOS in which the order is reversed for some reason, is Pile Up. Similar to Road Trip, there are a set number of traffic you have to hit. The fewer cars you let escape, the stronger your burn meter will be. When all the traffic's been hit, you get to light things up. The game doesn't stop until all the fires are out. These levels in particular are a perfect example of why the constant swiping on iOS devices is really helpful. When the flame stops, you have about 4 seconds to reignite something. On the Xbox, you can't move until your meter is full and no damage being caused and it's not being filled. On the iOS, however, you can just keep swiping until it catches fire. But probably one of the hardest parts of Pile Up is the 1 million point star. Combos, chain reactions, falling in holes, these are all things you need to do to keep the points going. The other modes have stars related to points too, but none of them are as difficult as the Pile Up one. In addition to points, stars can have a variety of other requirements. They could be things like trigger the super feature, blow up the gold car. Most of them aren't too bad, but the ones that are the million point ones in Pile Up, but also anything pertaining to skill shots. Seriously, these should have been called luck shots because they are way more luck than skill. The last few stars I needed to complete this game were all skill shots related. But hey, here's a pro tip. Heavier vehicles make skill shots easier. All that's really left is the achievements. Reading the list can be discouraging, but they're really not that hard. Many of the ones that sound like they might be difficult, you'll probably do at some point during normal gameplay. And for the ones you have trouble with, there are tons of guides out there. The hardest one will probably be collecting every star, but by the time you've gotten it, you've pretty much gotten all the other ones along the way. There are also 2 auto-log achievements, but luckily you can get them yourself by alternating 2 profiles on one Xbox. But if you're someone who doesn't care about achievements, I would definitely recommend the iOS version over the 360. It plays so much better. It's also a great time killer. This game is also great for both completionists and non-completionists, as there's plenty of content here to keep you both busy for a while. And who doesn't love explosions? Come on. I definitely wouldn't recommend this to Burnout fans. It really doesn't have much to do with the Burnout franchise, and you're really just setting yourself up for disappointment. I don't recommend this to anyone looking for multiplayer, because while it does have the auto-log things, all you really do for those are exchange high scores, and that's not really much of multiplayer. This game is also very repetitive, as all the modes are fairly similar, and you have to play each level several times to beat it. So if you don't like a lot of repetition, this is probably not the best game for you. Really, Burnout Crash is just an average game that probably shouldn't have the Burnout name on it. It isn't terrible, but nothing really stands out as particularly memorable. But what do you think? Have you played it? You think you might check it out? Let me know below and keep playing those obscure games.